Hi everyone, welcome to the Ruvi Tour of Slovenia. It's the last route that I've got on this. It is, again, I can't pronounce it, but we're going from somewhere beginning with C going to Novo Mesto. But it's the last route as far as the challenge is concerned. So that'll be the two challenges I require for my for this level, and then I've got a few predetermined routes I need to do, and then it'll move me up a level on the Ruvi cycling career mode. So let's go. For those who are new to the channel, hello, I'm Matt.i.wherry. Thank you very much for watching. I'm a positive mental health ambassador for Mates, as you can see from my jersey. But yeah, you can go and check out other videos on the channel that I've done in regards to mental health awareness. There's a few of these sort of videos on there in regards to the cycling. I'm calling them the Ruvi ride-alongs. It's the best name I could come up with. If you can think of anything better, please suggest below. But essentially, this route is 26 miles long. Probably take me about an hour and a half, because you can see halfway to 2/3 of the way through. It's quite a hill, but let's just crack on and see how we get on. This route looks a little bit kinder than the last one we've done. I really struggled on that last one. This one seems a little bit kinder. I haven't selected any virtual partners on this today, because when I looked at the amount of active riders that were on, I just thought it would get a bit too confusing. So we've got all of those people on the bottom. You can see there's, 15 people potentially, all riding this route live. So shout out to everyone on the left hand side, and yeah, give us a little thumbs up if you are one of those people. There's been a couple of updates on Ruvi that I've noticed. We've got a running total at the bottom of the amount of elevation we've done and your current amount of mileage. You can see at the very bottom I'm the small blue head that is 0.6 of a mile into it. And you can also see a black line that I don't think was there last time that I'd done this, which basically shows exactly where you are on the course, on the profile. So we're doing this in time trial mode, because you need to be doing these routes in time trial to be able to tick them off your list as part of the challenges and stuff like that. So you can do some of these routes in racing mode, but obviously you need to be a part of an official race to work towards your career on Ruvi. But I'm quite looking forward to doing a little bit of a longer route that's a little bit flatter, because that last one, like I said, I found quite difficult. I haven't been very good at going on the bike recently, I'm not going to lie to you. For one reason or another, I've really struggled to get on the bike. I haven't felt myself for a couple of weeks really. So hence why I've wanted to push myself to get out tonight. Originally I was planning on doing this last night, but it just didn't happen. But we're on now, we take the positives and we roll with it. So if you're new to Ruvi, you're new to me, basically I'll go around and just refresh your memories about how this is laid out on the screen. So in the top left you've got my current stats, so watts per kilogram, reps and speed. Below that you've got your current incline or decline, your gradient is the right term, and then below that you've got the other riders who are in the vicinity. So like I've said, I'm the little blue head who's at the very back from left to right. I'm the furthest left, and then the people ahead of me are shown there. So there's people a mile and 1.26 mile up the road, 3, 4, 5 miles up, so I don't think we'll be seeing many of them. And then we've got our profile of the route on the bottom, the name of the route, all the people that are currently on there, your gradients, yellows and greens not doing, they're nice gradients. We like the yellows and greens. The oranges kick up to 7, 8, 9%. Darker orange, you're looking at maybe up to 11, 10 or 11, and then there's no red on this, which is a bit of a godsend. because the red can go up to anything up to 25, I guess, from 13, 14. So I might not have got that completely right, but you get the picture. The darker the colour, the steeper the incline, or steeper the gradient, and the greener, the nicer. So that's sort of how it looks on that screen anyway. But you can see here on the top left, kicking up to 4.8%. I haven't prepared whatsoever there. I'm still in terrible gear. 5.9%, and it sorts to level off after this 6.3, and then we get onto a nice little bit again, which means I can talk a little bit clearer. You can see at the bottom that Rolonzo 223 has just appeared. So we're 2.4 miles in, so they're that far behind us basically. So shout out to you. Like I said, it's been a weird couple of weeks. I haven't quite felt myself. I felt that my head's been a bit foggy. No real reason for it, to be quite honest. I just think that sometimes we all potentially get like that. And I know what's better for my mental health. I know that cycling, walking, drinking water, eating well, you know, all of the pretty basic things. But for some reason it's a lot harder to do those things even though you know what's good for you, and it's all about mindset really. So it's just about trying to get back into the swing of having some sort of routine and habits that are positive rather than not not having those plans and not sticking to them, and equally then feeling bad about yourself because you haven't stuck to them, whereas you know you're not proving anything to anyone else. You're only doing it for you. And if you are doing it for someone else, then your intentions aren't maybe as wholesome as they should be. You should literally only be thinking about yourself. I said that in the previous episode of this, that you don't compare yourself to the other people around you, only compare yourself to you yesterday. Do you know what I mean? So yesterday, I went to bed early, laid on the sofa and ate some chocolate as well. Tonight, as soon as I could, I've got out onto the bike to do this route, to do this video, to tick the challenge off the list. So, you know, win-win. But then equally, on those nights or days where you don't feel quite yourself, you're fully entitled to take a bit of time out as well. So it's about having the balance, and as long as you're not doing stuff like this every single night, and as long as you're not on the sofa every single night, you'll be in some way to being quite positive in your mental health and therefore your physical health, which I find cycling for me is as much about the other. Cycling is very good for your mental and obviously your physical health. So we're rolling along quite nicely here. Not pushing too hard. Like I said, physical wise, I know I'm not where I should be, to be quite honest. So I'm not going to push myself too hard. I think when I first started on Ruvi, I was probably doing like 100 mile a week, and then it has tailed off. So I need to get somewhere between where I was and where I am now. But there is a challenge on here currently called the Mallorca Challenge, which is a 50-mile route which I would like to try and do this coming weekend. So tonight this route is specifically quite good to see where I am on that radar, because this year the most I've done is about 45, but that was with a lot of climbing, going through mountain passes in Wales. But yeah, I've got nowhere near that really since then. So my plan is to do a few routes, both online and offline this week, to then work my way up to do the Mallorca Challenge before that runs out, before that expires think it's next weekend, which obviously I'm not streaming this. So I think the challenge expires on the 6th of December. And right now as I record it, it's the 24th, so got a little bit of time. I don't have to necessarily do it this weekend coming. It's Tuesday tonight. But that's the plan anyway. Something to aim for. Alright, I've gone down a nice hill there, and then we've got a little kick up. Freewheeling it up a little bit. Trying to make it easy for myself. It's a bit cheeky, innit? But this has been a good challenge so far, this tour of Slovenia. Quite enjoyed it. The routes have been pretty difficult. Right, 6%, 7.5, 7.3. And you can see as soon as the gradients kick up, that watts per kilogram really is doing some work. Alright, 6.3. Place your bets going into 6.2. I thought it'd be more dramatic than that, but it's quite a long stint of it. Just coming into 5 miles in now. 4.99. 5 mile of a 26.2 mile route, I think it says. So marathon. Nice downhill bit here. So like I've said, I'm a positive mental health ambassador for MATES, which is mental health awareness for educational speaking. I'll put a link to those in the description below. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, give us a subscribe. If you're enjoying the video so far, give us a like. And like I've said before, if there's any routes you'd like us to do, any challenges, or you've got any races coming up, comment below and let me know, because I'd like to be a part of it. But as you can see, I'm quite an average average cyclist. I'm not breaking any records, so be kind. It's nice seeing those miles tick by. When on some of the other routes on here, they're short but steep, so it's quite nice having, alright, I know it's not flat, there's a massive bump in the middle, but it's quite nice having something where you can churn some miles out, because it's just good. I just enjoy that. As part of my positive mental health sort of awareness work, I do a podcast sort of every now and again, which is called The Three Faces, and on there I have people like friends of mine that have all gone through mental health issues and their stories really. So I'll put a link below for that, but as you can tell, I'm quite heavy on the mental health side of things, just because I go through stuff a lot myself. So I want this to be hopefully a gateway to someone who maybe is going through some stuff that they haven't spoken to anyone else about yet, and just need that little bit of a push into having that conversation with someone. And groups like MATES and others, there are others out there that are all doing great work. It's just that I'm an ambassador for MATES, so therefore obviously I know more about them than anyone else. So, but yeah, if you're ever in need of some support or a chat or whatever, I'll put the links below, and you're more than welcome to go check them out. So hopefully it helps someone. Right, nearly 7 miles in. This is great. I probably won't be saying that in another 7 miles. I'm struggling up that climb. Whew. My body feel like it's working a bit now. It's saying to me, you've been off the bike too long, Wherry. Need to get back on it. I have also wanted to get back outside. I mean, the weather this week, over the course of the weekend and the start of this week, has been lovely, so I've really wanted to try and get myself out, but I just haven't, to be honest. I wanted to do these videos and stuff like that, but obviously getting outside is the priority. that's what indoor cycling is really all about, isn't it? You'd much rather be on that road for real. But we're doing what we can, riding on real roads as best we can from the comfort of our own home. But yeah, for me, I wanted to try, I do want to go back out on my bike at some point out on the road. But I had a bit of a knock last time I went out. I'm not the most technical fella in the world, and I went down a massive pothole and I felt like I buckled my wheel a bit, which I haven't. I think it's more of a mental block, but I would like to pull my finger out and go outside a bit, especially while the weather's all right. Not guaranteed the weather in Essex or in the UK in general, to be honest. So I've been on Ruby for maybe a month or so, maybe a bit longer, 6 weeks, and I'll be interested to know what your favourite routes are, the ones that you've done, ones that you're looking forward to doing. So yeah, let us know below, because I'm looking for suggestions, because all I'm really doing at the moment is concentrating on the challenges and sort of moving up the levels. But I've seen like some other routes, maybe some quicker routes, because obviously on the challenges they're all like, you know, hour and a half sort of routes, and sometimes you don't have that time. So any sort of, you know, half hour, 40 minutes sort of routes I'd be interested to know about. I had a little search earlier, I think like a Tour de France stage 1 or 2 or something like that. There's like a, I don't know, like a 10-mile route, take about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. That's perfect, because you can do that in the morning before work, or on a lunch break if you're working from home, or just after the kids go to bed and you're not on your bike until God knows when. So any routes like that I'd love to know about, but I've got to concentrate because I'm doing 43 miles an hour. 44. This one will look better on Strava, won't it? Average speed wise, hopefully. I'm a bit of a sucker for average speed. I shouldn't be. I shouldn't care, but I do a bit. But if you want to go follow me on Strava, you're more than welcome to. Again, guess what? Link below. Right, so looking at who else is here, we've got Thomas CZ. I recognise you, Thomas. Maybe we've done a route together before, I'm not sure. We've got Diving Smith. Can only assume you're a goalkeeper. Masquerader. Satis El Taro. Simon Krajnik. Alfio Chris 75. Ricky! And then we've got a couple of others behind us as well. But if I can get anywhere near Ricky, I'll be happy. Don't do a Bianca joke. Don't do a Bianca joke. Okay, so we're nearly 10 miles in now, and looking at sort of at the overall target of this, I'd say if Ricky is 0.7 mile up the road, we've probably got about 1.5 miles until this big climb starts. We've probably got around, what, 5-6 miles of that climb, and then pretty much downhill apart from a couple of little bits uphill to the finish. So, you know, we're getting into the we're going to be getting into the tough bit very shortly, so wish me luck. Alright, little appetizer to the main course, it would seem. Well, not even that, maybe an hors d'oeuvre. What I was saying a minute ago about last time I went on my bike, I went down a massive pothole and my front tyre just went flat. It was a big pothole and it was dark, so I just didn't see it in time. But I was looking at tubeless wheels and tubeless tyres today. Let me know what you think about them, because I'm, like I've said, I'm pretty rubbish at anything technical. Maybe if you need a sound bar sorting out or a subwoofer, but or your telly sort of wiring up a bit, but anything of your actual use, I'm pretty rubbish. So when it comes to fixing punctures at the side of the road, there's more chance of my bike ending up in a hedge after it's been thrown by my good self, rather than the actual puncture being fixed. But it's probably me being lazy, I won't lie to you, but I'm just trying to look at potential ways to make rides more enjoyable and less of a risk. So yeah, if you've got any opinions on tubeless tyres, let me know. Alright, looks like our mate Ricky is just starting that climb. So if you look on the left hand side, you can see where I am, I'm highlighted in blue. The one above that is Ricky with 2 Ks and 2 Es. And if you look at the bottom where it says where I am with my little blue icon, my 10.95 miles, my 732 feet of climbing, 33, 34, whatever. You can see Ricky is the green one next to me on the right hand side. On the left hand side of me, on that profile, it looks like that's Rolonzo 223. So anyway, back to Ricky. They're on the climb. So let's see how they get on there. Maybe I should be recovering a bit. Water's a bit low already. Let's look at this again. So obviously we've got Ricky up the road to us, who's half a mile up the road now. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people on this hill. So if we were to take Satis, S-A-T-I-S, you are probably that last blue one up the road. So I'd say Masquerader and El Toro are those 2 reds. And Satis is the next one on there. And they have just got onto the second part of this climb. And they're 3.5 miles up the road. So, oh, and here we are. We found the climb. So yeah, a good 6 miles worth of climbing now. And we've done nearly 12 miles of relatively flat, potentially a tiny bit lumpy. But now it's just time to settle in and get up this relatively steady 5 or 6 mile stretch. Just trying to spin the gears, spin my legs, try not to get too weighed down by too low a cadence. Again, not trying to look at where other people are on the road, just concentrating on the current gradient and obviously the beautiful scenery. Saying that, we ain't got a lot to look at the moment, but I'm sure it's beautiful really. .2 now, 7.4. I think that's probably the most it's been so far, unless I've missed something. But you can see on the video this pretty steady climb. And on that sign that we just went past, it said to Novo Mesto, so at least we're on the right road, eh? Right, looks like we're just coming to the first bit. That's what, maybe the first half of the first phase of that climb, where it goes to a yellow for a little while, which will probably be that it's level, which will be nice just to, literally it's only for a few hundred, well, for a little while, maybe quarter of a mile, but you got to take it. It looks downhill from me. You can see a crest, but yeah, looking around, I mean, got some mountains over there in the distance, and I'm calling them mountains. They may very well be hills. Right, nice bit of downhill now. Just keep those legs spinning. You can feel that resistance kick in quite a bit there. Help if I can see my gears. Just put my towel on to my handlebars, cover my gears up. Bit of a schoolboy, isn't it? So I talk about the resistance kicking in. I've got the Elite Directo X smart trainer, which has been fantastic. The only issue I've had with it is that I've got an 8 gear cassette on the rear, so I had to get some spacers so that it would stay level basically and the gears aligned. But every now and again there's a few indexing issues in my sort of lower range gears, but when I take my bike out on the road it's fine, so I don't want to muck around with the indexing too much. I'm quite happy to pay the price of that for this, but yeah, I'm really happy with the trainer. I've always wanted one, but finally invested, so it's a good buy. There's other trainers obviously out there. Do your research. I sort of had a look on DC Rainmaker, and he's very good for review, so if you don't know who he is, go and check him out. So here we go, kicking up now. Let's get prepared. So I've just noticed we're over halfway, so that's nice. Take that, feel good, feel comfortable in the saddle, enjoying the route. It's alright, it's going okay. I think everyone has those days where it's more of a struggle to get out or get up, but you always feel better after you've done it. Not once have I gone on my bike and regretted it, or gone out for a walk and regretted it. But again, if you don't feel up to it, you don't feel up to it, it's absolutely fine. But personally, when I do push myself to get out and do something, I always feel better for it. So yeah, so we're over halfway, 47 minutes in, probably about an hour and a half, maybe just a touch over. Would probably be a good shout really, but like I've said before, I'm probably on average 2.6 watts per kilogram over the course of distances. Obviously that depends on the route and the profile and bits and bobs like that, but it's probably quite a good average to take from it. But like I've said before, I'll put a video up of how to have a look at all that at some point. And I want to sign up on a challenge and show how to do that as well. So, I mean, if you're watching this video, there's a good chance you're already on Ruby, or maybe you're on another platform like Zwift, and you just want to check what Ruby's about. So, I'll put some sort of how-to videos on at some point, but the bike ride was more important this evening. Right, because more people have joined the race. Because more people have joined the ride below, I can't see as many people ahead of me. But the last one I can see on that list is Altaro, who has literally finished this climb now and onto a very lovely long downhill, pretty much to the finish. And he's 3.3 mile up the road. So, and we have got the person behind us of Rolonzo 223, who's 2.5 miles behind us, just about to start the climb. So that works out to be 6 miles, which is roughly what we said. So my maths has always been alright. Just don't ask me to build anything. Right, so we've got a little bit left of this. You see it's going a bit of a deeper orange there. So if we're on 5.3, 5.5, probably raised to a 7.6. That's a guess. But then we've got a bit of a stretch of yellow for maybe just under a mile before the final push to the top of this. So we're on 6.2. Place your bets, people. 7.8, what did I say? 7.6 I think. Oh well. Right, stepping it up a bit now. 8.3. I think that's our top, potentially, gradient so far. Where are we now? Hrast. Welcome to Hrast. I apologise for the accent, but that's how we say it in Essex, apparently. So yeah, 3 miles from here to the top of this climb now, and we've done nearly 3 miles of the climb, so around halfway, feeling good. 51 minutes in and a little bit of leg rest. Bit of a refill there. Wasn't the most textbook in the world, but there we are. Sadly, no team card to hand me a water bottle on this. So other bits on my channel that I do have. I'm going to start doing some sort of outside cycling videos in the new year. But at the moment I've got a couple of little bits of gaming on there, like a FIFA playlist. And I've also got a Pro Cycling Manager one as well. So a bit of gaming on there, some general sort of videos, bit of a vlog, stuff with the family that I've done as well. So go and check that out if you fancy it. After this video though, do you know what I mean? Don't be, you know what I mean? Yeah. One at a time, one at a time. Right, step up the gears, let's enjoy this bit. But I imagine where we're going is up and off to the left and round, because we've still got a fair bit of climbing to do yet. Looking at where we are at the moment, so nearly 15 miles in, 1,400 feet worth of climbing, and the total route is 2,067 feet, so we've got 600 feet left of climbing. You can see now we're just about to kick up. Alright, here we go then. So we've got Diving Smith and Ricky closest to us, and then Simon Krosnick 2 miles up the road, just finishing off this last little bit of the climb, so not long to go. Trying to push myself a bit up here. Trying to make the most of this last bit of the climb, because except for maybe 2 or 3 little bits, pretty much downhill to the end, so I'm going to try and get the most out of this workout as I can. Whilst not trying to overdo it, because there's still about, what, a mile or so left of this part of the climb. So just keep it steady, keep it cool, Trigger. Okay, we're doing all right. Can actually see now Diving Smith just up the road. So when you do a race on here, it does something called drafting. So if you're within a group of riders and you're all doing a similar speed and sticking with each other, you can almost take it in turns to lead, and then whoever's sort of slightly behind you can then, you know, not work as hard. I think they've got a similar thing on Swift, but it's on the races on here, time trial. you can't do it. And when you're in just simple like training mode, it doesn't happen either. But it's good for the races. I've only done 1 or 2, but I need to do an official race as part of this level on the career mode, so I'll be doing one at some point. But shout out to Diving Smith. Ricky's up the road still. Not sure we're going to be able to catch them. You can see now El Toro, who was only about 3.5 miles up the road at one point. The beauty of that downhill. Just absolutely smashed it down there. Now 6.8 miles ahead of us. So it looks like it's a very fast downhill. I don't even think those orange bits are going to touch the side, are they? Where's, who's there? Simon Krajnik. Just around those little orangey sections. Well, obviously not, because he's just flown over it. So again with Ricky, they were about half a mile up the road. I think we got down to 0.3 at one stage, and now there are another half mile on top of that. So they'll be gone. They get over that bit at the crest and they're gone. Again, not comparing myself, but it's nice to have a sort of gauge, which is why when the route isn't that busy, it is an idea to try and find similar, try and find virtual partners that are of a similar average watts per kilogram as you are, because then it sort of gives you a rough guide about where you are, where you should be, then you're doing better than potentially. So that's a bit of advice. Wherry's top tip: virtual partners when it isn't that busy, otherwise you lose track of who's who. Final push really. I say that, you've probably got 3 or 4 uphills after this bit, but we're not going to be going any higher than this, and there's only really 200 feet worth left of climbing if you take away that 1800 away from that 2000, give or take a few feet. Let's not be pedantic. So if we've done 1900 feet now, a couple hundred feet left, we're doing all right. Right, now, hopefully it's just a case of just spin until the end, which might be a bit ambitious with, what is it, 8 miles to go, but I'm an ambitious fella. I have to say, this hour and 5 minutes have flown by, so I've enjoyed it so far. I'll be honest, not sure I'd have the bottle to stand up going for it at 37 miles an hour downhill at 5.5%. But my avatar got a set on him of calves, a set of calves. Imagine this being real life. You've just done 6 mile climb and you've probably just flown straight through that gap. I have seen on some other channels that people have done like the real route of, say, Alpe d'Huez on Zwift, and then gone and done it for real. I mean, living the dream, aren't they? But I might do something similar at some point, but it might have to be Leaf Hill or Box Hill or or North Hill in Chelmsford. But the whole thing with Ruby, it says about riding on real roads. So, you know, it's nice to see, you know, different routes all over the world that you can do. And don't get me wrong, I've done Zwift, I've done other platforms, and they are great. And probably better in some ways when you just want to go and just ride and not have to worry about doing the specific route and then feel obligated to finish it. But, you know, a free ride would be good. I mean, you can do workouts on here, which I imagine you could do that on, but it is nice to see sort of where you're going. And don't get me wrong, you can obviously stop a route at any time if you wanted to. But if you're like me and you want to get from A to B, it's quite difficult to stop. Stubbornness more than anything. But when you're doing your challenges and you're doing your trying to get to your Ruby career mode and like trying to get up the levels on that, you want to really hit it and try and do as many of the challenges and full routes as you can. So right, we've hit our first little bump here, and it is only a little bump. Feel pretty confident I can smash this. $600 flashed up then. 600 watts. You won't see me do that often, I tell you. I'm quite surprised. So we're doing this in time trial mode because, as I said, like you need to be in time trial or race mode to tick the challenges off. But I'm quite surprised. There's only one time check on this route. You'd imagine they might have had one sort of near the top of that climb or halfway up, but it's literally towards the bottom of this hill. So our rider's getting a bit cocky. He's using all of the road. Would have hit the gravel in real life, would have been on his arse. Pushing it a bit then. Alright, so nearly 22 miles in, nearly 2,000 feet of climbing done, and we're not far of catching up with the person in front of us. So yeah, so far so good. Alright, so flattening off a little bit here before it steps up ever so slightly, and then the final bit of downhill towards the time check, and then we're pretty much on flat ground, give or take a couple of little bits that look like they're going uphill towards the finish. So 3.5 miles left, and there's Ricky, shout out to you. Alright, so flattening out a little bit, getting to the time check. Looks like we're going to be about 104th, which is nothing to be sniffed at. Pretty much come around that area on most of these rides. So here are the flags. Oh, 104th. Beat Mark Clay by 1 second. That was more luck than judgment, if I'm honest, but such is life. Alright, a little bit of uphill. One thing I would like is that if there wasn't so much clash with the graphics. I've said before that when you get to like a time check, you don't need to know necessarily the next 8 people that are there. 4, 5, 6 at a push, but it takes over the whole bottom part of your screen, which I find a bit frustrating personally. But it's a very small gripe about a very good platform. The only other gripe I've got is with myself when I fell off the bloody trainer. But that was not Ruvy's or the trainer's fault. That was my own stupidity. Right, so we've only got 60 feet left worth of climbing. We've got less than 2 miles to go. Just going to settle in now and just get ourselves to the end. There's no one in front of us on the road now. Everyone else has finished ahead of us. Final bit of step up here is probably the last 60 feet. Or 50. Come on, push it. Push, 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 push. That's not a sexy face, is it? I apologise. Alright, that's pretty much all the climbing done now. 7 feet to go. And less than a mile. So hopefully we can hold on to our 104th place. Trying to push it to the end now. Looking forward to seeing those flags. Could do with a flamme rouge really, couldn't we? But is it still called a flamme rouge in Slovenia? That's where we're aiming. We are 2 minutes to stick in 103rd. We're going to do that. So we'll take that. 103rd. There's the flags. There's the finish. And all done. Okay, so you can explain this to me if you like, someone. So on the bottom it says we're 104th, and then on the route results we are 400 plus. So maybe that means that we are 103rd for the day. I'm not sure, but please feel free to let me know if you know the answer to that. But overall, I'm happy with my performance. I felt better than I thought I would, and mentally I feel clearer, so tick. Right, so there we go then. That's the Tour of Slovenia challenge completed. So that's my, like I've mentioned before on Ruvi, you get a like a cycling career, and you've got different levels to that career, and you have set challenges on each level. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, basically to get to the next level I need to complete 2 challenges. So I completed the Halloween challenge, and then we've just completed the Tour of Slovenia challenge, so very happy with that. The next challenge I'll be doing is the Mallorca one, which is a 50-mile cycle. So I feel good about today. I feel like I've done well. I think I need a couple more rides this week, and then I'll figure out if I'm going to do that this coming weekend or just before the deadline on the 6th of December. So we'll wait and see on that one. But until next time, thank you very much. Remember, I'll put all the links below to Mates and to my other YouTube bits and Strava and all that sort of good stuff. But yeah, if you liked the video, give us a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I've been Matt.i.wherry. Thank you very much for watching, and take care of yourselves. Cheers.